This is my dad, Barney Turdham. He was a sergeant in the National Guard and in charge of armory and supply for 13 years. He then went into active army for 4 years. He was in the 2nd Armored Division, 2AD. His duty was to drive the first sergeant and shoot and maintain the howitzers. He was then honorably discharged in 1998 due to having a degenerative bone disease. He then went on to have me and my sister. He passed away on February 12, 2017. I love you, Dad.
This thing burns gas like crazy, but that's alright.
This is my grandpa, Gene Reeves. He joined the U.S. Air Force in September 1966. He was based at Lakeland Air Force Base in Texas. He was awarded his Staff Sergeant Strip in 1968. He received 6 ribbons. He was awarded a letter of appreciation. I love you, Pops. This is my great-grandpa, Harrison Allen. He served 3 months at basic engineer training. He became a Tech 4 and served 13 months as a truck driver and 6 months as the telephone switchboard operator. He qualified as a marksman rifleman in June 1944. He then received World War II Victory Ribbon, Good Conduct Medal, 2 Bronze Service Stars. Then he was honorably discharged.
This is my dad, Nate Johnson. He was a Marine for 5 years and has been all around the world. He fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it was a helicopter mechanic. He got out in 2004. I love you, Dad.
This is my cousin, Drew Weir. He served 1 year in South Korea and 1 year in Afghanistan. He was wounded and received the Purple Heart Medal. He spent 4 years in the reserves. I love you, Drew.
This is my dad, James Horn. He served in the Global War of Terror, Afghanistan, Egypt, and Kuwait. He served 21 years from 1993 to 2014. Love you, Dad. This is my grandpa, Clinton Horn. He served in the Vietnam War from 1964 to 1985. Love you, Grandpa.
This is my Uncle Chase Durnall. He served from July 2007 till June 2012. He was deployed from June 2008 till September of 2009 in Baghdad, Iraq. He was a military policeman. His rank was E4 Specialist. I love you, Uncle Chase.
My name is Chandler Serene. These are my parents, Rick and Rachel Serene, who are veterans that served during Desert Storm. After fulfilling their contract, both were honorably discharged. In 2016, my mother re-enlisted and is now serving in a medical unit in the Oklahoma National Guard.
My name is Ivy Hover, and this is my dad, Daniel Hover. He served in the U.S. Navy for 9 years during Desert Storm and Desert Shield.
This is my papa. He enlisted in the U.S. Army in August of 1966. 6 months later, he was shipped out to Vietnam, where he served as a flight operations specialist. He returned to the U.S. in January of 1968 and was stationed in Fort Belvoir, Virginia. By the time he left the Army, he was a Spec 5 in rank.
Hi, I'm Sierra Graham. This is my grandpa, Curtis Ham. He fought in the Vietnam War for 3 years and served in the U.S. Army for 30. Before he retired, he was an E8 sergeant.
This is my grandfather, James McCormick. He served in the Air Force from 1959 to 1962 in Germany. He was part of the Tactical Missile Squadron. I love you, Grandpa.
This is my grandpa, Johnny Herring. He entered the Army January 19, 1959. He served 16 months in Germany during the peacetime. He came home October 1959. He served 33 plus years in the reserves. He retired December 1993 at the rank of CW3, which is Chief Warrant Officer 3. I love you, Grandpa.
Army shirt.
This is my grandpa, Jerry Snyder. He was drafted into the Army following his high school graduation in 1967. He was awarded a Bronze and Silver Star and several Purple Hearts after his platoon was ambushed. Grayson and I are proud to call Sergeant Jerry Snyder our Poppy and hero. We love you.
This is my Uncle Trent Baer. He was the Master Sergeant for the Air Force from 1987 to 2010. He served in Iraq, the Global War, Afghanistan, Desert Storm, and Desert Seal.
This is my uncle, Tech Sergeant Joe Beckham. He served in the Air Force and retired after 21 years of service. He worked in the 58th Special Operation Wing's pararescue and aircrew training. He did helicopter and C-130 maintenance. He is a Gulf War veteran. He was stationed in Air Force bases Texas, Oklahoma, United Kingdom, North Carolina, Korea, and New Mexico.
And you'd probably punch my arm right now.
This is my brother Dusty Serene. He enlisted in the Oklahoma National Guard as a wheeled vehicle mechanic in 2016. During basic training, he was awarded the George Watson Award and the Physical Fitness Award for maxing out his PT test. He was also activated for Hurricane Harvey.
Hello, this is my dad, Alan Wong. He is also the uncle of Gabby Wong. He served in the Texas National Guard for 12 years. He was deployed to Iraq in 2005 for 1 year, and he worked with Iraqis building fences and patrolling. He also worked with the Italian Army. He was a sergeant.
This is my brother Gage. He was stationed in Germany for 3 years. He participated in countless missions across Germany, Poland, and all throughout the Baltic states.
This is my dad, Don Phibbs. He is a Sergeant First Class in the Army. He has served overseas in Iraq and is currently in the Army Reserves.
This is my dad, Mike Gray. He is the father of Ashley and Connor Gray. My dad served active duty for 5 years in the United States Air Force. He worked as a maintenance crew chief on different aircraft such as H-60 Black Hawk helicopters, C-130 transports, and A-10 Warthogs. He worked with the 52nd Airlift Squadron and the 41st Rescue Squadron in his time at Moody Air Force Base in Georgia. After 2 back surgeries, he was honorably discharged in 1997. Love you, Dad. This is Robert C. Gray. He is the grandfather of Ashley and Connor Gray. My grandfather served in the 45th Artillery Group in the Oklahoma Army for 6 years in the 1960s. He worked as an artillery spotter directing firing points for the 189th Battalion Headquarters Battery for Fort Sill in Lawton, Oklahoma. After serving as a spotter for a few years, he became a first sergeant for his group until his honorable discharge in 1968. My grandfather passed away a few years ago. I love you, Grandpa.
This is my dad, Derek Herring. He went through basic and advanced training at Fort Sill. Then he pursued 6 years in the reserves, attending drill at Broken Arrow. I love you, Dad.
This is my papa, Rick Pate. He served from 1970 to 1974. He was a sergeant in the Air Force and served in the Vietnam War. During the war, he was stationed in the F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Cheyenne, Wyoming. He passed away January 26th of 2014. Love you, Papa.
Hi, my name is Cody McElroy, and this is my dad, Joe McElroy. He served in the Army Reserves for 11 years from 1985 to 1996. In November of 1990, he was deployed to Saudi Arabia during Desert Storm and returned home in August of 1991. He is now your principal at Perkins Tryon High School.
I drive your truck. Tear it up till all the pain's a cloud of dust. Yeah, sometimes I drive your truck.